Good morning, everybody. Brandon's a dummy. Today is Thursday, May 10th, 2018. This is MMA Junkie Radio's pre-show, the show before the show. I am Goz. This is George over here to my right now. And this is Dan Tom over here to my left. When I point up in the sky, that means Danny Okers. What's up, everybody?
Dummy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going good. How about you guys?
Apparently, Danny's a 5-year-old.
I'm okay with that.
It's good. Going good today.
That's good.
Yeah.
How was popping off?
Popping off was good. Goz was in the chat room. A lot of junkies were in the chat room last night. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a packed house. I wasn't able to say stupid things as much.
Yeah, I mean there were real conversations going on in the chat during the show. I liked it. My favorite part, and I posted this later on in the Facebook group later on last night. My favorite part is going back after the show and reading everything because I miss so much when I'm looking forward at the camera, and then when I have to over the break, I just kind of try to read as much as I can really quick. But then after the show, I go back and I'll just read everything. That's one of my favorite parts.
When do you do that? When you get home, or are you still at the studio when you do that?
Home. I just close my computer as soon as the show's over so that it saves right then.
Oh. All right.
So I do it as soon as I get home.
Dan was just Bane, I think, from Batman.
No, it was not Bane. You just have to
Joe from
imagine the
Maidstone.
fire. Did you like my Stallone yesterday that I was trying to get?
I heard it a couple times.
I think Stitch had to draw the line of how much he could laugh at that joke, right?
Yeah, well, that's why I kept
It's
that. Oh, that's why Dan Tom kept it mild, because you know that when Dan Tom impersonates somebody, they tend to take on certain aspects of the personality that they might not have had before.
Mm-hmm.
Danny knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Joe from H-Town and Bane come together. Usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe from Joe from H-Town, Derek Lewis, who also is another Houston native. Maybe Bane's from Houston, right?
Your Bane is
Coming up
basically
30.
Joe from H-Town if he stepped on a Lego, I think. That's
Fire rises, Mr. Ghost. Mr. Wayne.
I'm just imagining Bane stepping on a wing.
Now you got to picture Joe walking around like, how y'all do? And he turns into Bane. That's what his
Oh!
We're coming up, Sam.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goz.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goz, our ace co-host. To my left, it's the fight analyst, Dan Tom, back east, handling all the producing duties. Danny Otto. What's up, fellas?
What up?
Not mucho.
How you's doing? Is that mine? I couldn't decide if that was mine or not. So I go, well,
It's
Goz
not
has
mine.
two, so.
It's serving as a paperweight for me, but you can drink it because I haven't touched it.
All right. How you guys doing?
I'm doing
Good,
great.
good.
Yeah?
Yeah. How are you doing?
Another Junkies in town?
Another junkie is
I
in
woke
town.
up and I saw leaving in 3 hours, so I didn't expect to see Brandon. So that must have been like a 2 a.m. tweet or something.
Yeah, last night, right? I think he came in last night, 11 p.m. our time.
Oh, okay. So my Twitter, I guess, doesn't always go by newest to
I don't
oldest.
like that. Why are they doing that?
I don't know. It's
Instagram
like-
Yeah, it's
trying to do
weird.
that now.
Yeah, I don't
too.
like it either.
Instagram, Facebook, they throw
Is
you
there
off.
reasoning for that?
I guess if it's popping, they want it back at the top. Promoted ads, sponsored ads.
Yeah, I like it in order.
I don't know.
They're
But
getting too
I know,
crazy.
like on Facebook, Dan told me or someone told me you can have a preferred list.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're doing that too.
Who's on your preferred list, George?
My cousin Jamie.
Yeah.
Although I might have to take her off because there's a lot, man. Like it's a bit much, so I may have to take her off for a while. But I consider her funny.
Do you think she goes to angryfemales.com and says, all right, what do they got
Something
here?
like
and
that.
then post that?
But like the other day, she cracked me up. Doesn't even have to be that funny, but it just caught me off guard. She wrote, "So we not doing spring or what?" You know, because I know back east was getting hammered. You know, we're well into April and they're still getting hammered. So I got a kick out of that. Like, you know, I guess Tennessee was getting hit with snow too. Who knows? Anyway, all right. So it's a Thursday. Tough talk. We gotta do that because we're gonna have Bryce Mitchell calling in here in about 15 minutes. You caught it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What'd you think?
Oh, it was a good episode. I think they've all been good, but I think this one didn't have the steam that some of the other episodes had, but it was still good. It was
At
fun.
any point in time, did you say, "Oh, for crying out loud"?
Yeah, maybe a few times.
Really?
But you know what? I think that's been my attitude towards MMA in general this week, starting with Embedded. Embedded have just been kind of like just throwing food in the microwave, and and it's not really their fault. It's the fighters have just not really done anything.
I said that to you yesterday, right? Because I felt the same thing. So did I say it to you? Or someone
in
on
the
phone?
morning, when you walked in, I go, dude, Embedded kind of sucked.
Yeah, man. You're right. It's not the crew's problem. They're in fucking Rio de Janeiro.
Mhm.
It's beautiful there. They have beautiful settings, but the fighters are just kind of going through the motions.
Yeah.
And I don't expect them to fake it, but it must be their personalities, or it must be so much has been established on each one that you're just, you're like this. It's 8 minutes long and you're falling asleep. I think third one popped in, and
I think it was Amanda Nunes that was just kind of like, hey, everybody, here I am on the streets. That's my opponent over there. Hey, they're all hugging. I'm like, how's that supposed to get me? That's what made Floyd brilliant. Floyd and Manny, because you don't know how many times they did that, the countdown or whatever, I forget what they used to call it for boxing, but they would have to do that over and over, and somehow, even though you know everything about Floyd, all the chants, what the gym looks like, they would figure out fresh angles.
Yeah.
And these guys were just kind of going through the motion a little bit. And like you said, it wasn't the production's fault. It was kind of just the fighters are just kind of...
Kelvin was kind of easy going. Jacare, there was respect there between him and the Brazilian coach, Cordero.
Mm-hmm.
Pennington doesn't say too much.
Yeah, Amanda Cooper's just in a jacuzzi. I don't know what the hell she was doing.
Mackenzie Dern can't stop laughing and smiling. and
saying like.
Although I heard, dude, she was on a rant.
No, there was somebody else that was on a rant.
Dan,
I sent you the message during the show,
She's up there
right?
in the top 5 with Johnny Hendrick. Who are the kings and queens now?
Do you remember who it was? I think it was this week, wasn't it? Like
No, Mackenzie Dern, dude, in L.A. When she's there with Gastelum.
She's the like queen.
Like?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know.
I noticed a lot of you
biscuits and gravy, but I don't know.
I noticed a lot of you knows.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
I'm probably top 20 at least in I think so.
Big Ralph, if he's drunk, he'll bury you in you knows.
In you knows?
Yeah. But only when he's drunk. All right, but so it was a joke. For crying out loud, I was trying to joke around with Luis Pena. A lot of crying in the episode, but I kind of got moisty eyed. I was like, oh man, I felt bad for the kid because I was like, that's what I want is passion out of fighters. And so the fact that he felt it, like, damn man, I can't be an Ultimate Fighter. I was right there with him because I thought he went out there and did his thing. Kind of had a little soft spot for the Animal Sanctuary, his story, and
at least he got a shirt at a finale spot, right?
Yeah. It looks
Which really, did he luck out when you think about it?
Because
he's still gonna fight on the finale. He didn't have to go through the whole tournament, and people know who he is. Like, did he kind of get away with one there? It's not too bad. That ain't too bad if you ask me. He still gets high-level training.
It depends on what you think of the prestige of being an Ultimate Fighter winner.
I don't know. I mean,
there doesn't seem to
if
be much.
If they go, here are all the winners. I mean, you're just one of a bunch of them, really, now.
You know, I think fighters go through a cycle where it's no big deal to them, but then later on, they're pretty proud of it. Like, every time Karen introduces Michael as the tough 3 winner, he's pretty proud of it, like nodding, like, that's right, I was there, I did this. You know, it's something they went through. But you're right.
Came out of those seasons.
But you're right. Like, you know, is it a big deal? He's on the finale. His contract just may be less than the winner. If he's a finisher, maybe he missed out on some bonuses or more exposure, or, you know,
Stays
I don't
undefeated.
know. Yeah, you're probably right.
Maybe, right?
Right, it might have worked out.
Like, it might have sucked at the time, and then maybe he put his head down on the pillow and went, well, wait a minute.
This ain't so bad.
It's not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, Bisping was giving him some hard time, too, a little bit on the crying. But, it was tough. It was a tough pill to swallow. Getting to the fight, that Bryce Mitchell guy, for one, love that nickname, Thug Nasty. And what I mean, he's relentless, dude.
I can't believe he didn't get a finish.
He doesn't stop. You know, there was a time where I remember Chicharello, was that his name? Cuccinero, something like that. He fought off a takedown and kind of stood up, and I think he just wanted to have that moment of swag, like, what's up now, and boom, like fucking the other dude's like Edge and WWE just spearing him right back into the cage.
I like that callback.
And the dude was like, oh, man, here we go again. Like, I didn't even have a moment to look him in the eye and go, now we're in my, you know, this is my realm. This is where I want to be. There wasn't even that half second. That dude would not stop. He was amazing. I'm excited about that guy. And then I looked him up. I know they're all undefeated, but I was like, is he 3-0 or he's 9-0?
Yeah, I think one guy was 9-0 and the other one was 8-0 or
9-0
something, right?
Yeah, so he's no
They're pretty
joke,
close.
man. 9-0. You know, like, it's tough to go fucking 9-0 and tough enough. I mean, you know how competitive even amateur MMA is, and this dude's 9-0. I can't wait to talk to him. He seems really chill. He's got a little bit of the country boy thing going on. So good on him, man. Seriously. I was thrilled to see that part of the episode because I'm looking for who's going to come out of the season, who are going to be the prospects. And I think each winner brings something to the party so far, where I may be really into, like, okay, after the finale, what's next? Like, let's see these guys rise through the ranks.
The same way you kind of itch to have the comeback season again, I feel like if we did this again a couple seasons later, undefeated, I thought every fight's been pretty good. I think the winner that's come out of it makes you kind of say, hey, we may have something here. Something might come out of this.
And he's on Team Cormier. Team Cormier's up 4-0. And Stipe just kind of has no answers. He had a little bit of a meltdown himself. They counted 17 or 18 F-bombs.
Well, it's good, though. He finally cares, right? Because the last episode, it's just been kind of like, you know, we lost another one.
Yeah.
But now it seems like it's really starting to bother him.
A little bit. The Cormier team just, it's, you know, there's this word that's being used a lot in the last 2 years about in other sports. What is he, you know, what's the culture of the locker room? And what's the culture of the team? And it all started with how come the Browns always suck? And it's like, and I'll hear people go, man, it's the culture. They got to change everything from the top to the bottom to the locker room, blah, blah, blah. But I'm starting to think, like, in MMA, you can kind of apply it with certain guys or teams. Cormier's infectious. Like, that whole team's like, you know, they're wearing the bandanas, the look, they're supporting each other. And they're like, they're into week 5. And yet, in other seasons, I've noticed where it's like, well, I'm about to fight him anyway. He's my team member. But I noticed there's still a camaraderie that he's built and, like, a family that he's built. Luis Pena on Tough Talk was saying he's going to AK to train. And, you know, at some point, yeah, they are going to have to fight each other. Well, I guess maybe a Miocic guy might slip in for Pena now. But I don't know.
He is infectious.
I can never stop saying enough things about DC.
He is.
That I like about the guy.
But when we would have him on the show early on, he was acting that same way towards AKA. So maybe it is just the gym.
True. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, he's going to call in at 10:15 a.m., so that's in about 3 or 4 minutes. So let's get this early break out of the way. And then the rest of the show, after Bryce Mitchell, we will be talking to, they'll be in studio. It'll be Joseph Benavidez, Lance Palmer, and Matt Schnell. They all have fights coming up, so they're all camping together. Palmer lives with Benavidez, or is staying with Benavidez, and it looks like he's
used to be roommates back in the day, right?
Yeah, becoming more of a fixture at Extreme Couture. And Schnell, I think the relationship just comes through the reality show. Benavidez was a coach, so he might be with them too. But we're gonna get all three of them at one time, so it's gonna be a fun show here. We gotta pay some quick bills. This will be a quick break, and then we'll come back. We'll talk to Bryce Mitchell from The Ultimate Fighter, Season 27, Episode 4. He's the winner. We'll be right back.
Blah, blah, blah. Here are those two dummies, George and Goes.
I'm on need someone to help me.
Did that scare you guys?
Yeah, I know it scared him too because he jumped.
Sorry. I didn't realize.
NBA fans, you need to tune into NBA Radio, Sirius 207, XM86. Listen to the hourly cue to call for your chance to win airfare, hotel accommodations, and 2 tickets to Game 4 of the NBA Finals. For official rules and details, go to SiriusXM.com/Sirius NBA Radio before May 22nd.
This is my karaoke song. If we ever did karaoke, I'd just come out and just go,
That'd be your role.
You guys kick me out. Oh, changes into something else.
I really like this song.
Yeah. Oh, now I gotta start reading lyrics. All right. I want to welcome to the show Bryce Mitchell, the winner of last night's episode 4 of The Ultimate Fighter. Catch The Ultimate Fighter on Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. You'll see Team Cormier versus Team Stipe Miocic, or Team Miocic, sorry. To catch you up a little bit, Bryce takes the tally to Team Cormier 4, Team Miocic 0. What's up, Bryce? How you doing?
Hey, brother, man. Thank y'all for having me, man. I'm glad to be here.
Man, we're glad to have you. And I got to tell you, that was such a great performance last night. I just couldn't believe how relentless you were. You have endless cardio, and everything you do is just with like you're on a mission to destroy the opponents. Like when you were taking your shots, you wanted to take your shots through them. When you were striking them, it was like you were striking through them. Really, really excited to see your progression going forward, and hopefully you're in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, to stay for a while, man. You made a fan out of me last night.
Dude, thanks so much, man. When I go in there to fight, that is the intention, man, to get that finish. You know, I didn't want to go to a decision. I don't even trust the judges, you know. But, yeah, I appreciate that, man. That's what I try to do. I try to go in there and finish. I know that's what people want to see, and I consider that my job, you know, to make weight and finish the fight, you know, if I can.
Yeah, you were trying, that's for sure. Your opponent definitely was able to fight off. I mean, you had him in really, really tough situations. You had a body triangle most of the time. You were attacking the neck. So I do want to give him props. He didn't give up. I got to applaud that. And it just goes to show the level of talent this year is amazing. You're all undefeated for a reason. And speaking of that, Bryce, because it's about you, it's not about your opponent, the first thing I did was I got to run and see, you know, he's undefeated, but is he like 2-0, 3-0? You're 9-0, so you're no joke, man. 9-0 is tough. And then I remembered the win at WSOF. So another thing. Here's another thing. Thug Nasty, awesome nickname. I mean, you were literally hitting check marks throughout the whole episode for me as an MMA fan.
I appreciate that, man. I'm so glad that people enjoyed it. You know, because that's my biggest showcase yet, you know what I mean? My biggest platform yet that I've fought on is Ultimate Fighter. So I've got so much support from everybody back home and just people that I'm just now getting to meet. I just can't thank everybody enough, you know. And that's what I want to do. I want to go and get the fans excited. And I want people to want to watch me fight. And, you know, I go in there every time just trying to finish the fight. That's my goal. I'm glad you said that I was relentless, man. That's what I try to be. I try to just keep coming and coming and coming, and that's what I try to do my best.
The only way I'm falling off the bandwagon is if I find out that you like to have dogs fight each other, or if you tell me you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Otherwise, I'm all in on Thug Nasty.
Or if you like cold pizza. I won't stand for that.
Cold pizza? Yeah. So we're good, right?
Yeah, I don't pit bull fight or cockfight or none of that shit.
All right. What about the Cowboys thing? You're in Arkansas.
Oh, the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah.
You talking about the Dallas Cowboys?
The Dallas Cowboys.
I don't really get into football much, honestly. I'm not really a fan of anybody. You know, in football, I like Arkansas Razorbacks because I'm from Arkansas, but I don't even watch them. You know what I mean? I hope they win, but I don't watch them. All I watch is MMA and martial arts, really.
Good enough. That works for me. All right. Bryce Mitchell, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He got a win on Episode 4 of The Ultimate Fighter. The Ultimate Fighter Season 27 is called Undefeated. It features Team Miocic, which is coached by Stipe Miocic, and Team Cormier, which is coached by Team Cormier. Team Cormier is 4-0 now going into Week 5. And don't forget the coaches fight at UFC 226. There's a tough finale the night before. So lots going on this summer in regards to the reality show, The Ultimate Fighter. Catch them on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on channel 219 if you have DirecTV. That's Fox Sports 1. Otherwise, check your satellite and cable listings. Goes, what do you have for Thug Nasty?
Bryce, the good thing is that your team is winning. You guys are 4-0. But I have to imagine the bad thing is you're probably at that point where you're realizing if we keep doing this, we're going to end up having to fight each other. How has that changed the dynamic of training going forward? Are guys starting to become more individualized, or has that team stayed intact?
Well, from the beginning, it was kind of like everybody knew the chances were we'd have to fight each other, you know. And we really, starting from the beginning, it's not like we avoided each other and the 45ers wouldn't train with each other and the 55ers wouldn't train with each other. But just out of respect for the guy, you know, I wasn't asking any of the 145ers, hey, you want to grapple with me this round? Hey, you want to spar this round? You know what I mean? It's like you stay away from them and you really just train with the 55ers. You know what I mean? And in practice, there was a lot of times, though, where we're doing a team exercise, and then, you know, I'm not going to skip a beat. If a 145er sits here and asks me, hey, I need a partner, we're doing, you know, a team workout, then I'm going to work out with them regardless, you know, even if we have a fight coming up. And, I mean, that happened, you know, you end up sparring and training with people that you fight, but it's to be expected, and when you train with them, man, you don't, I mean, even the coaches, they'll tell you, hey, don't show each other everything, you know, you might have to fight each other. And so everybody kind of has that mindset. So when I was training with the other 145ers, I was just kind of going through the motions, you know what I mean, and not I'm not showing them, hey, I like to throw head kicks, or hey, I like to do this, or you know what I mean, I like to set my shot up with a jab, or you know, but you do spar with them and make sure everybody gets their work, but you have to avoid them at the same time.
How much of the team success is attributed to the fighter himself, the coaching, or the matchups?
I mean, it's a combo of all of it, man. You know what I mean? It's I think our coaching was just better. It really was. Their team was taking 2 to 3 days a week off at least. I mean, I'm talking 2 to 3 days a week. They wasn't even training. They'd go fucking bowling, man. You know, and they'd go bowling or riding go-karts or some shit. You know, and we're sitting in the gym doing 2 days, and I'm telling you, we fucking trained, man. I'm telling you, he did not let us rest. It was constant training, constant grinding, and I think that actually did help us out in the fights, because we had better cardio than the other team for sure. There's no way that anybody on their team had better cardio than anybody on our team. There's no way, because we trained way more than they did, and our cardio workouts were harder. And I don't know if Stipe works out different or whatever, you know, when he's training himself. But from what I heard, he was a really just relaxed coach. You know, he let everybody do kind of what they want to do. And DC was just telling us what we're going to do. So that was the main difference between the two of them.
Why have I not noticed that during the show? And that hasn't come up with any of the other guests. We've been having every winner on for the past 4 weeks, Bryce. And this is totally catching me off guard. You're saying that while you guys were training, 2-hour sessions per day, and DC was on you guys, and Kane when DC wasn't there, that how many of those other times was the other team on go-karts and bowling?
I would say they probably took because we really only spent 4 weeks in the house, I would say they took at least 2 to 3 days a week off every week, every single week.
Wow.
I mean, we'd come home and they were all sitting at the house, hadn't moved all day, or they get in late from going go-karting or something, you know.
I didn't even know that you could either not be in the house or at the gym. I thought it had to be a special excursion. I think Dana White has put them all on a boat before at Lake Mead or the Coaches Challenge, but I didn't know they just had the option to blow off practice and go bowl and go-kart.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what happened a few of the times. They were going go-karting and golfing and just all sorts of shit. We didn't really do anything. We had one day where we had like a little cookout, you know, and that was about it. We had a little team get-together cookout, and it was some of the best food ever, man. There was one of the Brazilian coaches. He made this Brazilian, like, pork and beans, and he slow-cooked it, man. It was damn good. It was a barbecue.
Bryce, how do you expect us to conduct this interview if you talk like food like that? We're so hungry now. That's all I can think of is these beans.
Texas de Brazil.
Yeah, I even forgot my next question, but no, I remember it now. So the limited time that you have with the other team and the other team's coaches, did you ever have any interaction with their coaches? Is there anything you can point to where you could say, you know, I did learn this one thing from Stipe?
You know, I really did not. As far as coaching-wise, I did not go to any of their coaches asking for anything. But I'll tell you what, I did talk to a lot of their coaches. I ended up for my different fights. You know, I was sitting in their locker room. You know, I guess I can say that I'm in the semifinals now. It's safe to say, you know, I won the fight. So I know I'm not supposed to talk about it. But for the semifinals, I was in their locker room. You know, and I talked to them the whole time. I actually really liked Stipe. Me and him kicked it off really good. He was just a down-to-earth dude. I like all of his coaches, too. He had a good nutritionist. I don't think he had the best coaches because they were just fighters. You know what I mean? And there is a little bit of a difference because he just had, like, James Krause and Jacoby and Chris Camozzi, and they're all cool as shit. Like, I got along with them really well, but I just think coaching-wise, I would have rather had DC AKA coaches, because he brought over a legitimate coaching staff, and it's different from being a fighter and a coach, you know?
Mm-hmm. Bryce, how come you weren't on Tough Talk last night?
Man, I would have loved to go out there to L.A., man. I've just got so much shit going on in my life. I'm about to go out to I got a little bit of land. I'm getting a camper. I've got a camper. I'm moving into it. The ground's too soft, so I got to build a driveway, a little gravel driveway. So right after this interview, I'm going to go start on that gravel driveway. I got to get plumbing, electricity. I got private lessons. You know, I can't really afford to take off work and not get this camper set up because the rent in this apartment is just fucking killing me.
So you just figured, man, I don't need to go on Fox Sports. I'm going to be on MMA Junkie Radio, man. I got it covered.
Hell yeah, you already know, my brother.
Yep,
Thank you for having me.
We're clicking, Thug Nasty. I love this.
Our days are so different, though, right? When he laid out what he's got to do today compared to what we're going to do later on today.
Pretty much. We're gonna go eat, and he's going to go build a house, build a city. Thug Nasty, Bryce Mitchell, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. Really enjoying chatting it up with you. So listen, that was a great performance, and I know you can't say what's happening, but it looks like you came out of it healthy, and we look forward to seeing you, like you said, in semifinals and going forward. Whatever happens, happens. But man, I really love this season. I think the UFC is going to get not just whoever wins both weight classes. I think there's going to be like a haul of about 8 to 10 fighters. There's some really, really talented fighters here, and you're definitely one of them, man. It's been fun chatting with you. So thank you a lot for sharing some time with us, Thug Nasty, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. All of it, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right, you too. All right, folks. Bryce Mitchell. Man, that dude's cool.
Cool cat,
I'm really, really digging that guy. That Thug Nasty shirt that they wore at WSOF, I thought that was a solid shirt as well. You know, kind of reminded me of the old Run DMC.
Yeah.
So it reminded me of Kelvin Gastelum. Remember when he was at the Tough Fighter finale and they all had it? So,
black and white.
Something's popping. When you look in the crowd and something's popping like that, that's
Johnny Hendricks had a good one,
good
too.
forward thinking there for the family to back him up, or for him to say, hey, look, everyone, I'm doing this. Please come out and support me. Because you got to stand out one way or another, and this kid's doing it. Follow him on Twitter, @ThugNastyMMA. Let him know you heard him on the @MMA Junkie Radio team. Why don't we squeeze in this other break so when the guys get here, we can just go break free the rest of the way. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Russian 83. Stay close. We'll be right back.
say things in this cool voice, and they get paid to be lame. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Fantasy Sports Radio now has live talk weeknights at midnight Eastern Time. Listen for Fanvice for live fantasy baseball scoring updates, fantasy football analysis for the upcoming season, and much more. Host Dave Lochran dishes out fantasy sports advice to help you win, plus entertainment to wrap up your day. Fanvice tonight at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on Sirius 210, XM87, and the Sirius XM app. Want to welcome to the show Joseph Benavidez, UFC flyweight, and Matt Schnell, UFC flyweight. What's up, What's up, guys? How you doing?
Really good.
Doing great.
Really good. How are you?
Good, man. I'm really digging the shirt.
Oh, thank you.
And that was very cool for you to bow before you entered the studio.
Oh, I felt it was right. I felt it was the right thing to do today.
I don't think anyone's ever done that, right?
I don't think so.
And as soon as I saw it, I go, wow, that was really cool. Like, thank you.
Like, I don't bow in martial arts gyms. It annoys me, but I bow at, like, the most random spots, like airplanes and waitresses and stuff.
When you go into the airplane?
When I'm coming off and they're saying bye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That's your way of
I think
thanking
it's
the
just
pilot
under,
for bringing it home?
Yeah, maybe they haven't got that before, you know? Let them know I respect them.
You said you don't do that at gyms or dojos.
But not like kind of.
Now,
it's not my thing.
Let's rewind 3 years ago. Wasn't that Dwayne's thing, though?
Dwayne's was a big bower.
Yeah.
He would always get on me. He's like, bow. And I'd be like, I only have a certain amount of bows in my day.
You've already
that I can't
them?
get. Yeah, that I exhausted them, yeah.
Okay.
And, like, that kind of goes back to me is, like, I don't know, like, we can ask Danger too, and I always want to do a poll with fighters whether they consider themselves martial artists or fighters. And I can consider myself a fighter. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I respect everybody, but I'm not like from the bowing, culture. Like we, started wrestling and stuff. It's a sport. It's a fight. It's combat.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that.
Would you be a fighter or a martial artist?
I think over time I've kind of turned into a martial artist, but towards the beginning of my career, I was just an athlete that was going in there trying to hurt people. So, yeah, I get it.
Well, so I'm on the side, not that I'm either one, but I'm on the side that I like, I feel like I'm talking to fighters and covering fighters. Or if we want to call them mixed martial arts, that's fine. But even though mixed martial arts is judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, like some of them are martial arts, but some of them are sports.
Yeah, people
like wrestling, like you said, that's a sport. You know what I mean? I've known it as a sport growing up, watching it, and I respect the other martial arts. But sometimes Dan and I, because Dan's a martial artist, karate and taekwondo, sometimes we debate. He likes the respect of the sport, and other times I tell him, I love the nastiness, the grittiness, the pushing at the weigh-ins. I'm okay with that. Others aren't. It's not like he's on an island alone. There's many others that don't like that as well.
We should do a poll.
Let's do it.
Fighters. Maybe I'll just do it on maybe I'll just do like a yes or no on Instagram.
Are you a fighter or a martial artist?
Yeah.
Hey,
but then like random people will be answering.
Just keep it simple. Hey, fighters.
You know what I mean?
Are you a martial artist or a fighter?
Maybe Twitter would be good because then they could reply.
Yeah.
Where if not, we'll just
what do you got, like 200,000 followers?
110 or something.
So I think you got to kick it off, man.
I'll kick it off. Let's do it.
I would imagine most.
I got you.
I always want to do that.
Though.
Okay.
Most of the wrestlers, I would imagine, would say they're fighters, right?
But then they kind of switched into it. I think people, because like martial arts is the cool thing and it's serious. Maybe they came into it. Yeah. Who knows? Anyway,
all three of you
that's
are
our story.
in camp, and you're all fighting. I believe it's all of them in June, right?
All of them in June, yeah.
June 9th, June 7th, and June 23rd. So for the most part, you're all kind of on that same timeline of maybe Danger's going to obviously cut his weight 2 weeks later, but you're all at least practicing hard. No one's like, hey, take it easy. I just started my camp.
Yeah, we're getting after it. It's a great crew. Danger a little behind. He just came behind us, so he came down to get started for his few first weeks of camp and help me as a look. Like he was gracious enough to just come out and he's like, hey, I'll give you a look before I get started, because he's fighting a freaking string bean, tall flyweight opposite of me, but he still came out to help me. And I think in the meantime has got some good looks and training.
He's been Sergio Pettis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Been Sergio Pettis a couple camps in a row, actually. But yeah, it's been great. Got my camps kicked off here, and Joe's been gracious, and Lance has been great too. And I came straight off my honeymoon, jumped right into a training camp. So recently got married.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much. And but it's been great. I've really enjoyed my time here.
Where'd you go for the honeymoon?
We went to the Caribbean, 7-day cruise.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You weren't on that one where it got flooded and all that.
No. Ours went perfect. Royal Caribbean. Hit me up.
What what islands?
We did Cape Cod, Cozumel, Jamaica. 7-day cruise. It was really nice.
So that's Mexico.
Hey, didn't we look one of those
that's
up?
Mexico, and Jamaica's like way on the other side. So you cruise the whole
actually,
Caribbean.
we stopped in Cozumel first.
Okay.
Cozumel, then Cape Cod, then Jamaica, and then back around.
If we're gonna try and figure out the difference between fighters and mixed martial art or martial artists, can we figure out what's the difference between the Caribbean and the Caribbean? Who's right and who's wrong?
I don't know.
I think they're both right.
Are they?
Yeah.
Because they're never the Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Nobody ever
They're
says
the
that.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay, I'll go with Caribbean from now on.
What
Did
about,
who
what
said
you gonna
Caribbean?
do?
Me or Danger?
I think Danger said Caribbean.
Caribbean?
Right?
He's calling you out, Danger. You
No,
like
no,
that?
I'm
Well-
asking. I want to know which one's right and which one's wrong. 'Cause
There
I
was
remember
a
the other
nice
day,
tweet
GIF
the other
versus
day.
GIF. I didn't know what was going on there.
Yeah.
Is it GIF or GIF?
Dan
What the
says
fuck? We don't
he
know
heard
yet.
a YouTube. He said the creator of the guy that made the first GIF was on YouTube and called it a GIF. Right, Dan?
Yeah.
Didn't you say that? No, that wasn't me. Somebody said it.
So it's GIF?
Yeah, somebody got called out and they go, I saw YouTube and the person that created it called it that. And I took a
right.
note of it and said, okay.
So let's get a stance. Is it Caribbean or Caribbean?
Caribbean. I'll give in.
You guys in?
Potato, potato.
Oh, this
Right?
guy.
There's another
Tomato,
tweet that
tomato.
explained it. It just spelled it the same
Yeah.
and let you pronounce it however you wanted to when you spelled it.
I call it
And
a
then it
GIF,
says
but I can go
the
to
only
GIF.
time I say Caribbean is with pirates. And then that was it.
I think you're bullshitting.
There's a tweet. I saw it.
Really?
But it spelled it exactly the same. Do you say Caribbean or Caribbean? But you knew exactly, even though it's
I
spelled
mean, this
the
is
same.
the most random conversation, and you
Yeah.
happen to see a tweet about it.
I happen to see a
and
tweet
then you
about
happen
it.
to be interested enough to click it.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, like you read it, but you knew how to pronounce it different. Caribbean or Caribbean. It says the only time I say Caribbean is for pirates.
Because I would
And,
say
like,
Royal
it just made
Caribbean.
sense.
That's the cruise line, right?
Right.
But I wouldn't say Royal Caribbean.
Oh, for
Caribbean
crying out loud,
Queen.
you're right.
Aren't you right? I mean,
Caribbean Queen.
Billy
That's a
Ocean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean,
did you like the cruise? Did you dig that?
It was great. Yeah, we enjoyed it. And ever since we've been looking to go on other cruises.
I
so.
hear it can be addicting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I got a buddy that says, I can't wait to go cruising. He even calls it that. And he goes, does Sam go once or twice a year?
Twice a year.
Twice a year. He's hooked. You ever been on a cruise?
I haven't. No.
I want to go on one, but I want to dip my toe in the shallow end and just maybe try 3 days, like
Yeah.
L.A. to Ensenada.
Right.
Yeah.
See if it's good. And then maybe get into the whole 7-day. Let's do Alaska.
It's all you can eat, you know, and
Oh, wow. You
there's
got my
food.
attention.
Yeah,
Yours
all
was the
day
7
long.
days.
Yeah,
Make that a 7-day on mine.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my
George is
thing.
looking up 10-day cruises.
I don't know if it's my thing. I don't know if I'd have enough privacy and have the same people and space and stuff every time, even though you stop.
What you mean?
You know? Just like being on the ship
There were a lot of people.
the whole time and having the same people and kind of like...
I did
You know,
hear
I like
that-
to venture off and stuff. and
Okay,
do
so
my
this is
own
what I
thing.
heard.
I don't like a limit on what I'm doing, like stay here for a day or here for a day. You know,
I have had
that's
one
just how I
person
roll.
tell me, we walked the whole ship, and then I was like, now what? That was
Matt.
Elvis Johnson.
Oh, Matt said the same thing.
Matt said the same thing. Yeah, all right. So start with a 3-day or whatever. Another thing I heard is when you go to dinner, you have a placement, and you're going to sit with, so there's 2 of you, 2 other couples. So there's
Yeah.
6 people, right? And
that
apparently
happens?
they try and kind of group you into that. Now, you
Ah.
can peel off and just kind of be like,
Yeah.
like if you hit it, then the others might go, well, look at Megan and Joe. They're too good for us. You know, like, you may get a little bit of that attitude. But
How
I
do they do
suppose-
that? They look at your background history and have you a questionnaire?
Well, I think the first thing you're going to do is
Put
say,
you
hi,
down.
I'm Joe. And
No,
hi,
but
I'm
that's how
Megan.
they team you up on the tables?
I don't know.
It's
You know?
probably just random, but we told them we were honeymooning, and we got our own table.
Nice.
Like we let them know, so they kind of shuffled us off.
Really?
So it was nice. Yeah, it was nice. They
Yeah,
took
like
care
I'd
of
want to
us.
eat at a different restaurant like every day or something.
Oh,
And
there is
they,
different
yeah, there are
restaurants.
different
Oh, there
restaurants.
is?
They have options.
They
Yeah,
have comedy clubs. They have
Comedy
nightclubs.
Strip
They have a lot of
clubs.
stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, that's a good
They're
idea.
massive. So now others will tell me, hell no, I'm not bored. Like, there's different things to do, and then it has to do with like what Matt said. You know, you can dock somewhere for 8 hours and do a little bit of exploring, and so, and then there's others that just love kicking back and soaking in the sun. And
yeah. We mostly just chilled, did a lot of sunbathing, and it was a lot of fun though. Yeah, we enjoyed it.
Came to camp with a nice tan, so it was good.
All right, so he's mimicking Pettis, and I'm thinking Tim Elliott. Do you see him around here in Vegas? He
Yeah.
might be a good Inoue guy, right?
Anyways,
Kinda tall
He's
or-
injured.
Yeah, he's
Tim is?
injured. Yeah, Tim's
Oh,
hurt.
okay.
We've had some good guys. Moreno had a kid down named Edgar, 3-0 pro from Mexico. He was a nice long look for me. We got an amateur kid, Pooney, that comes in, and he's been really great. So I've gotten my looks, and I'm getting rough work with Joe and working through the grappling, and everything's been, I can't complain about a single thing, to be honest.
He's 2 weight classes above you guys. Can you still
Lance
get
Palmer?
in, or is it start to make a difference?
We've done some drilling.
Yeah, we drill, but there's a whole group of featherweights here as well. Like, it's awesome.
What's the limit of how much the weight discrepancy can be?
Well, we
I'll
usually
hear lightweights say, "Man, I can't go with the middles, but I'll go with the welters."
Well, I think grappling and stuff, and kind of like off season, or like when you're not necessarily preparing for anything, you can go with anybody. You know, I'll grapple the biggest guys, 45s, 55s. I think when it gets to this point that we're at, 5, 6 weeks, you want to start getting the right people, the right fill. Want everything to be realistic. So our group is, when we spar or do our grappling or even our practices, is pretty much all flyweights, and that's pretty much who we're going to go with. A few 35-pounders sneak in there, and then Lance has a group of just 45-pounders. So we spar at 230, they spar at 330, and it's 6 of us. I think they have like a group of 6 to 8 featherweights that come in. So it's really nice, like with the PI and everything, and coming out and kind of having, for the most part, making your own schedule and your own team with all the resources out here. We just have like the groups of guys, so it ends up our practices are split pretty much half flyweights, half featherweights, and that just happens to be who we're concentrating on for the camps and for the practices.
I've heard great things about the PI.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh man, they cook your meals, and I get to work individually with all these great coaches. But one thing I think I'm gonna start hearing pretty soon is, a lot of the secret's out. Like, it seems like a lot of people are in town. Is that as easy to get that one-on-one time, and is it still, you feel like it's accessible for plenty of people, or at some point is it gonna get too full?
Well, it all works around scheduling, so you can't be booked at a time, like say it's the strength coaches or nutrition or whatever. You can't be booked at the same time as another one. They just hire 2 guys, so now there's 3 strength coaches, 2 PT people, and then there's never was a specialized coaching system there anyway. You couldn't go to a wrestling practice or whatever. Like, you remember when like Francis lost, and they're like, you should have gotten to wrestling at the PI or whatever. There's no wrestling practice there. You make your own practice. So we bring in our own coaches, our own partners, and that's how it's made. So, and then you even schedule that. So it's actually been good. Like, a few of the practices have been, we've had like impromptu people that were just there in town for contenders or whatever, like jump in our training, and it's been pretty cool. Actually, that's how me and Danger really started working out. He was here for something.
I just came through just to check out the PI. I wanted to get my neck worked on and some physical therapy, and Joe was there. We just kind of jumped in training together.
And then we're like, oh, let's do this again after your wedding and honeymoon. So that's kind of how it started. Like, I sparred with Anthony Pettis like 5 days before I took the fight with his brother.
Oh.
We didn't know it was going to happen, but it's cool. Like, you get a lot of people like jumping into practice. I think the other day, like, Jakar Close was in there, and people just jump in. Like, Yair Rodriguez jumped in the other day. Jeremy Kennedy's a guy that's always in town, kind of just filling in. So, it's
I'm
pretty
seeing
cool.
a lot of people move to Vegas, too.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing
So
for
apparently
our
the PI is just a home run.
Yeah, man.
How fast can you click with someone when you're training with them? Like, how soon into it do you know this is the guy I want to work with later on?
I knew with Danger before
it even
we
started.
Trained, yeah.
You guys, the cafeteria or what?
Yeah, huh? No, we just knew. But no, after we trained, we obviously, had a nice session and we got into it. Other than that, it's just like it's different, drilling, sparring. There's some guys,
What's the key to figuring out that someone's not an asshole?
I think you can tell within the first 5 seconds of going with them. You can feel someone's energy, and some guys you just don't meld well with. And I've run into this all the time. I train all over the place, and I'm in Houston. I go to a Muay Thai gym. I go to a jiu-jitsu gym. I go here. I go there. And sometimes you go with guys, and it's like, me and this guy are going to try and kill each other if we keep at this. So maybe move on and avoid that guy the next time. And it's not necessarily because they're rough or they're this or they're that. It can be their timing. It can be their attitude. You can sometimes feel it, but literally within the 5 seconds, I think you can know whether or not you meld with someone.
Is that often?
Not often, but it happens.
So there's just some turds out there, huh?
Well, you know, when you walk into these gyms that are just jiu-jitsu or just Muay Thai, these guys can get a sense of like, well, I'm a Muay Thai guy, and this guy is not doing Muay Thai, and it can upset people. And I get it, I understand it, but yeah, you just gotta keep it moving. When you don't meld well with somebody, move on to the next guy. Try and get through that round without, you know, going crazy and making it something insane, and then avoid that person.
We were talking earlier about the culture of things, and Joseph, now that you've been in Vegas for quite a while, the UFC PI, does it almost, the people that frequent it, is there almost kind of like a culture of when the new people come in from other states or whatever, do they kind of have to earn their stripes a little bit in there? You know, like, is there kind of like a, hey, this is our area type thing?
Well, a little bit. Like, everyone already has their schedule kind of set if you're in Vegas, like, you know when your PT is and stuff, so they kind of get, you know, whatever else, go up there, kind of discover it. But for me, no, it's not really like that. They call me the mayor of the PI.
Yeah,
Funny
really?
enough, yeah, I'm the mayor. Like, I got someone hired. I accidentally, well, there's another stories, but say hi to every. No, that wasn't a thing. Got like a guy hired.
Stop right there.
I was the first.
What do you think happened? Goes.
I was gonna jump in and say
I got
if
someone
he still got
hired.
someone hired,
and then he goes,
then
I got someone, and then he stopped. So he said fired is no. What else?
I got someone almost hired.
Someone almost hired.
Anyway.
If I wasn't fired, then I don't know. I would just think it's the complete opposite. He got someone fired.
All right, I did on accident. But anyway, not really. It was a thing where, you know,
But
we're running a tight.
mayor decided it, huh?
Yeah, but like everything, like cafeteria, talk to everyone, make sure everyone's good. I was the first surgical rehab there, so I've pretty much been there the longest and probably the most time, 5 days a week since a week after it opened. You know, so I don't know. I go in, talk to everyone, make sure everything's good, tell them what to do, where everything's at, how to make the schedule, make sure they're having good, and then while I'm at it, if they, you know, are a nice person that definitely could benefit everyone there. Oh, you ever thought about moving here? Oh, man, there's no state taxes. Oh, housing's so cheap. Stuff like that. And Forrest would just walk by me and be like, give me the thumbs
He
up.
didn't get anyone fired. He got someone green-lit.
Think so?
Someone was in there and acted an asshole, and then they went to the mayor, and then Joseph goes, get Tavares on him or Ngannou on him or whoever.
All right.
And got that guy greenlit.
That's not bad. My
that
theory,
could have been it.
My theory is
that could have been it.
That could have been
it. I was thinking he's at the cafeteria and these meatballs are too spicy, and then somebody else co-signed somebody big that said, you know what, I've been saying that shit, and then that guy got demoted somehow.
Yeah.
Not fired.
Possibly. Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to fill in the sentence.
Yeah.
He stopped there. He could have said, I got pasta added to the menu. I got an extra person hired. I got a swimming pool installed.
I got a volleyball court installed. A basketball court.
Volleyball's fun.
Yeah. I got a basketball court in the parking
mayor
lot
of the UFC PI.
So
Good to know the mayor, right?
It's good to know the mayor. Yeah, life has been good.
Matt, I always ask the in-studio guest, can you share a good street fight story with us?
A good street fight story, of course.
This guy's a thug.
Listen, one New Year's, okay? I am at a party, and I live in Shreveport, and the next town over is Bossier, and there's kind of a little rivalry there. And I'm at a party of friends of mine, and, you know, drinks. We're young, we're retarded, and kind of got a fight started, beat this kid up. Later on, his friends are calling me up. I'm like by myself. I snuck off with a girl, whatever, and these guys keep blowing me up, and finally I answer the phone. I'm like, all right, come meet me. I tell them exactly where I am. And I remember the guy saying, all right, I'm the one in the pink polo. And at the time, it didn't really register to me what that meant. But when they got there was like 6 of them that piled out of the car, and I was like, oh, he's the one in the pink polo. I'm fighting 6 people. And still didn't really understand what was happening. The first guy runs at me.
What'd you tell the girl, by the way?
I was just like, hold tight, baby girl, I got this.
Okay. I was gonna say, can we do this tomorrow with a chick? Like,
and hammered drunk too.
Right.
And I just told my friends too. They were like, "Are you okay? Everything's good." I was like, "Yeah, y'all go on. I'm gonna do my thing, whatever." these guys call. I tell them where I am. They come piling out the freaking Dodge Charger. And, there were 6 of them, and I kind of start tussling with one of them, and I end up on my back. And somebody told me I actually pulled guard. So never pull guard in the middle of 6 guys. But I just remember being on my back fighting this dude, and I'm like, man, why is none of my stuff working? And about that time, I realized I'm taking boots to the face from all angles. So kind of cut to the next scene. I got roughed up pretty bad, and not sure how it ended. They all went running off. I think a neighbor came out and said he was going to call the cops. But, I mean, there's ruts in the front yard from where these dudes were trying to murder me. And I go into the bathroom, and you can kind of see my nose is a little janky. My nose was on this side of my face when I went to the bathroom, and I just pushed it back into place. So, long story short, don't pull guard in the middle of 6 guys because you might get your face stomped.
Were all of them wearing pink polos?
Yeah, what are they?
No.
The Cobra Kai? They all wear the same
one
thing?
pink polo. One pink polo.
Oh, but all 6 of them?
All 6 of them roughed me up.
Oh.
I just didn't understand. He said, all right, I'm the one with the pink polo. And I was like, what is that? I don't care what you're wearing. You're about to get your ass whipped. But he was one of many, is what he was saying.
I would have thought Anderson Silva was getting out. He likes to rock the pink, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Right.
I thought all of them might have came out in pink polos and been like,
did.
we are one.
What's up?
And then got on you. But
It's just, strangely enough,
that would have been
though,
better execution.
A couple years later, the guy that I beat up in the first place.
Oh, wait, is there a part 2?
Well, yeah.
All right, hang on a second. We're at the top of the hour. Let me exit here. Let the audience know we'll be back. We also have Lance Palmer in studio. We'll cycle him in as well, but we want to hear the part 2 to this story with Matt Schnell in studio with us, Joseph Benavidez in studio with us, and Lance Palmer in studio with us. It's the MMA Junkie Radio Show on SiriusXM. Stay close, and we'll be back in about 3 minutes.
Ow.
about me, baby. Say I'm doing you wrong, doing you wrong. Well, don't you worry, baby, don't worry, 'cause I'm right here, right here, right here, right here at home. 'Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner. I play my music in the sun. I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker. I get my loving on the run.
All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Want to welcome to the show former WSOF featherweight champion Lance Palmer to the show. What's up, Lance? How you doing?
Doing well, man. Enjoying this Vegas heat.
Yeah, 102 today.
It's
We
not
cracked
bad.
100.
Nice.
It's officially summer.
Triple digits.
High 90s is like, let us know when it's 100. It's 100.
Yeah, it's better than humidity, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
80 and
I'm with
humid
you.
is worse than 100
I'm
and dry.
with you. Swamp ass, sweaty balls,
All day.
stinking. Yeah, it's the worst.
Stink dick.
All right, so Lance has Bekbulat Magomedov at PFL 1, and that's on June 2nd, 2 days before you take on Sergio Pettis at UFC 225, and both of you 2 weeks before Matt takes on Naomi Inoue.
Naoki.
What?
Naoki
Inoue at UFC Fight Night 132 in Singapore.
That's right.
All right, cool. Just want to make sure we got it all right.
Nice
at
schedule.
Jiu-Jitsu, at Lance Palmer, at Cager, Danger_Cage.
Maybe Cager_Danger.
Cager's sick.
Yeah. All right, so before we talked a little bit to Lance, there's a part 2 to this story maybe, right?
Yeah.
So years later, weeks later, days later, what happened?
It's crazy because almost a year to the date, because we got into it with these guys at the Independence Bowl. So obviously January.
College football game?
College football game,
Okay.
yeah. That's in Shreveport, Louisiana. Run into the same exact guy that I'd beat up the year before that got me jumped.
At the Independence Bowl?
At the Independence Bowl. He picks a fight with my best bud. They tell us to follow him, so we follow him. And this time we pile out of the car with a whole bunch of dudes. But so 2 years in a row, this same guy got roughed up by me. Got beat up pretty bad. So.
And you got a little payback on some of the other hooligans?
Well, not so much because they didn't want to fight. None of the other guys really wanted to fight. It was one of those things.
And you could tell they were the pink army?
No.
Pink polo army?
No, I don't think so. I never really ran into that kid again. I actually just kind of was like, you know what? I kind of probably deserved that whipping. So I kind of let it ride, Didn't never try and get it back. So
we've heard about 500 street fight stories.
Yeah.
And not too many share ones where they got their ass kicked. So thank you for doing that. I just think it's part of life.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone, with the exception of Hickson Gracie, who's 400-0, I don't think anyone's undefeated. Whether it be our sport or
Twitter that are
street
undefeated
fights.
at street fights.
A lot of them.
I think I would actually have a losing record in street fights since I went 0-6 in one night. So
yeah,
catch up.
maybe. Lance, remember when you told us about XS, you and your pops or your brother? I remember that one. That was a good one.
There was a lot of us in that one.
Yeah.
We were actually outnumbered, but we took him down.
You did, yeah. But pops, and then I saw your dad later on at the Cosmo.
Oh yeah,
you could just tell he's got that side to him, he's
for
older.
sure.
I'm sure he's more settled down, but don't snap at him.
Not even close.
More
I don't think he'll ever settle down.
That's funny. All right.
Wayne the Pain.
You are now
follow on Instagram.
You're not a Vegas resident, but you've kind of set up to do your camp at Extreme, which is where I ran into you. Is that going to be like a permanent decision, or?
For now, I think so. I think there's a lot of different changes that I've made by coming out here and training, and obviously Joe and I are really good friends, and we've been close friends for a long time, and roommates and stuff like that. So I think when we lived in Sac, we did a lot of our camps together. We would fight within a week or same week, and we would do all our camps together and be on the same schedule. And I think it's cool to get back to that where we're fighting the same weekend again and in camp together and kind of going through the same thing. And luckily I get to piggyback off of him with his practices at the PI and be able to work out with a lot of the guys that are in the UFC and be able to use the PI and kind of do the same things they're doing, as well as Extreme, and be able to use all the assets that we have there too.
How do you divvy up your practices, Joseph and Lance, when it comes to Extreme and the PI? Is it just what you're feeling that week, or is it according to? Like, I know Tuesdays is small gloves at Extreme.
Yeah.
Thursdays is big gloves.
Well,
Monday seems to be pretty packed with technique. Fridays is an early day, so do you work off that and then?
Well, like for sparring, I'm just gonna do my own sparring every time.
Okay.
Small group at the PI, PI has the big mat area and a cage, so I always use the cage, make it more realistic, and then whoever, just the other group that's there to get rounds or alternate on me, they're on the big cage. Lance and his group do the same thing. When you get close, I don't mind big team practices when I'm far out and just open-minded, kind of rolling into camp. But I think once I get to this 6-week mark, I'm doing all individualized kind of things. So my own sparring, my own classes. Our class has at the PI when we run a practice has 10 to 12 guys, pretty much half flyweights, half featherweights, and then Lance does a little more at Extreme. But yeah, I mean, it's always there, and there's always the bodies there. But I think that's what the PI is for, for us, is to kind of do more an individualized kind of thing. Have just the partners you need, instead of a ton. So yeah, we kind of just I was more all Extreme, pretty much. 10, 12, weeks out, 8 even. But now about 6, I'm pretty much all individualized practices.
Okay, and did any of that also have to do with the loss of one of your coaches, Fallis?
I mean, I would be going wherever he was, regardless. But he
Gotcha.
he had already left Extreme, so we were doing stuff at the PI anyway.
I got you. Okay.
So, no, I mean, it doesn't have a ton to do with it. I mean, that was a big reason that made me realize I could move to Vegas and have an amazing coach and everything. And he kind of changed everything for me. So him leaving definitely was a huge damper. And he's what brought me to Extreme anyway. So now without him, yeah, there's still Extreme, but he was the reason I went there.
That's your first fight without him, yeah.
Yeah, but now using the PI really for what it's for, and the idea that they had when they built it is so we can all have our individualized practices, our own partners, our own coaches brought in and everything. So really just utilizing that place to the most.
And for yourself?
Same type of deal. The reason I use Extreme is just depending on partners. There's a lot of 45ers in Vegas, so
including Almeida.
Yeah.
You guys cool? Because it was 1-1, right? If I'm not mistaken. So do you guys stay
in
away
my
from
head
each
it was
other,
2-0, but
or do you know we may do a trilogy at some point? You stay over there, I stay over here.
Yeah, we don't train together or anything like that.
Okay.
He hardly shows up at Extreme, but since I'm on Joe's schedule with our practices, I do a lot of my training at the PI anyway. The only reason I'll go to Extreme sometimes is to work with Eric, or Eric's going to be one of my head coaches for this fight and one of my cornermen, so it'll be good to have him, and we kind of set up the game plan and things for Beck Palat. But I don't know, me and Almeida are cool. I mean, we fought 50 minutes.
He seems like a quiet guy. I mean, he's one of
we fought 50 minutes against each other, so if he makes it out of the other side in this tournament and we fight in the finals, I don't really care. But he's not really 100% at Extreme, so if I do see him there, it's cool, but it's not like we're watching each other spar or train.
Right.
And I mean, I don't have a problem with it, honestly.
How was the exit out of Sacramento? Are you still cool with that team, Team Alpha Male?
Yeah, as far as I know. I mean, I talked to a lot of those guys, and I actually had Dustin Akbari in town last weekend. He's been my jiu-jitsu coach since I started with Team Alpha Male 7 years ago. And I feel like it's been like Faber has always said from day one, it was a co-op. So as much as I've been helped from a lot of those guys, I've helped them, and I ran the wrestling team and the practices and cornered guys, the week before my fights, and been in people's corners that, out of, kind of going above and beyond of what I could have or should have, the week before I fight, I'm out. I fought the week after Mendez fought Edgar, Page fought Rose, and Faber fought Frankie Saenz. I cornered all 3 of them, flew home for a day, and then flew back to Vegas the next day for my fight in the first fight against Almeida. So, I mean, I've gone above and beyond for those guys, and if some of them are kind of, have feelings about it, then that's their problem. I don't have any ill feelings towards them. And if you really want somebody to succeed and you're really a friend of theirs, like a lot of them say, then you'll be happy wherever they go. And I didn't leave Sacramento just to go to a different coach or different team. I left Sacramento to go back to Columbus, Ohio, where I'm from, where me and my wife want to start a family and be close to our families. Her family's Cincinnati, mine's Cleveland. So it was more of a family move. A lot of the people there are from there. I mean, Faber's never really left Sacramento, so, you know, that's where his roots are. Castillo's roots are there. You know, Feely's roots are there. All those guys, they're from there. So they don't really – I don't know if they have feelings, that maybe it's because they don't understand that
I haven't heard anything. I just asked only because I knew it was such a big storyline for like the last 2 years.
Yeah, with TJ. I think his was different because he kind of hit it.
He's cool with everyone, right? You're cool with everyone.
Who's that, me?
Yeah, Sacramento, Colorado.
I like everyone.
Yeah, and everyone likes you. Fist bump? Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I talk to Faber all the time, and talk to Cody all the time, and I'll talk to TJ sometimes too. I mean, I don't have feelings against or toward anybody for anything, regardless of where they train. If it's somebody that I get along with, or somebody that I like, or if whatever it is. I was just texting with Darren Elkins this morning. Right when I got up, he texted me. Yeah, he was asking me how my camp was going, and I said, I was pumped for him. He just got that fight booked in July, and I talked to all those guys. So for me, it's not anything where I feel like the door is ever closed, but I just wanted to branch out and get some different training. And my original plan was to go train with Frankie in New Jersey because it's close to Ohio. But with Timur Valiev in my weight class for this year, since they're not doing a bantamweight tournament, it kind of put a damper on that for this year. But it's one of those things where, me and Joe have been so close for so long. He reached out and he was like, hey, man, why don't you come out, check it out, and train? He's like, Vegas is awesome. There's a lot of different guys here. And he was right. It's been great for me so far.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of your season, you could be a millionaire. Excited about that?
Will be.
Will be a millionaire.
Yeah.
I like
I'm excited.
And you get paid along the way, so it'll be $1 million and change.
A lot of change. Oh, yeah.
And where do you stand with when WSOF ended? Were you a possible free agent, or you automatically already just tied to the PFL?
Not really tied. When it was the new organization, I wasn't really tied to anything. It was kind of like my fight last fall against Steven Seiler was kind of a one-off deal. And, in my opinion, is where I could have gone from there. And a lot of things changed where we were supposed to start in January, and then it turned to March, then it turned to June, and now it's actually happening. So it was one of those things where there was a lot of negotiating going on just for the, between the fight purses leading up to the tournament for me and keeping my structured pay that I already had and things like that, and the option to be a free agent, kind of like Balagi Ivanov did with he was the heavyweight champ for World Series, and now he's headlining a card against Junior Dos Santos, and that was just his decision. He didn't really want to fight 5 times in 6 months and put that damage on his body, whether it's $1 million or not. So
did you even entertain an offer from the UFC or Bellator or One Championship or anybody else?
I honestly didn't get an offer from anybody. So I think they kind of felt that I was already married to the PFL since it was World Series before, and they've always taken care of me, though. Ray and Carlos and all those guys and the new investors are great people, and there's a lot of big things coming, and the next 2 years of PFL are really shaping up to be a great thing for the sport of MMA, but also depending on what happens with this season for me, we'll see what happens after this year.
Can you become a millionaire, win the first season, and be a free agent, or are you already linked to the second one?
You're already linked to the second one, so that's the big thing and the big debate about it in the contracts and things like that we had to go through. But it's a great opportunity, but it is a lot of fights in 1 year, and it is, if you get injured or something like that, then you're not able to continue, or you're not able to keep doing the preseason fights before the postseason stuff. So it's going to be interesting, but growing up in a tournament structure of wrestling, it's perfect for what I want to do. So it's great for this year, and hopefully I can stay healthy, because being healthy is the key to winning this tournament over all else. So I'm just excited for it to get started in June.
Now let me rewind something, just because you were over there and you didn't get a chance to chime in. Have you ever been on a cruise?
I have not. I've heard mixed things about cruises, but I've been on some fun vacations with my wife over the years, and I don't know. I've always wanted to go on one, and she went on one in college for spring break, and she said it was fun because all her college friends and everybody was there, so they kind of partied together on the cruise the whole time.
Right.
But I feel like for a couples thing, for us at least, we like to just go and lay on the beach and get away and kind of just do our own thing. So it's nice to just be in one spot. But I feel like a cruise would be fun.
Ever since one of you guys said all you can eat, I'm like, God, I want to hit a buffet today or something. I don't know. Matt,
place to do it.
We did a buffet last night. Sushi.
Where'd you go?
Sushi buffet.
Umaya, yeah.
Where's that? You know where that one is?
Right by the Palms.
Yeah, right by the Palms. It's like a standard all-you-can-eat place. Sushi.
Wasn't
you
bad.
guys have to keep it clean, right? The diet, kind of.
Yeah.
Our weight's been really light,
Our
actually.
weight's been good. We get.
What do you
down.
weigh right now in camp?
I mean, I'm probably every day 40, getting down to 38, 37, like practicing and
That's
stuff. Yeah,
real good. How about you, Lance?
The lightest I've been so far this camp was when I've checked my weight was 160, which is good for me. I usually stick around 65, 66 all the way through fight camp. So being that light was just like a one, right after practice, after being in the sauna and the hot and cold tub and stuff. But I think that's really good for how far we're still 4 weeks out here.
Matt?
Probably around 143 right now. My first week here, I hit 139 after a workout, so I feel good about my weight. We're going to keep it.
And they don't look miserable, right? They look pretty happy, chill.
You shouldn't be miserable, honestly,
life.
cutting weight. Like, it's not really a thing. Like, the only time I feel like I honestly diet, like, I see people weigh out being like, oh, I'm so starving or this. And I don't really even feel like that till the only day I actually am hungry is the day before weigh-ins, because that's the only day I cut down to make weight the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm fully hydrated and eating every day up until, like, every night. I mean, every day we have a meal where it's just like, dude, that's crazy. Like, this is reckless or whatever. All you can eat sushi. 6 de Mayo, we had a huge barbecue. Like, we go to dessert pretty much every night. We eat pints of Halo Top. Like, it's just, if you're working out hard, you just need to really maintain your weight. Like, that's the right way to do it. Drinking
you
enough.
putting that on the map, by the way? 6 de Mayo? Is that a new thing?
It was.
It was for
us.
us.
Yeah,
what happened to the Cinco de Mayo?
It
came and went, you didn't realize
I'm just
it?
the worst Mexican. Like, we had the fakest, like, Cinco de Mayo. It was 6 de Mayo. We had, like, elote salmon tacos, not even, like, a traditional thing. And we're like, oh, let's listen to some, Spanish music. Santana and Rob Thomas. Smooth, like, just jamming in the backyard. It was just
What'd you do on Cinco de Mayo?
What did we do? I don't think we did anything.
I could tell you what we did.
What's that?
Oh,
We went to Red Robin.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys went to Red Robin.
All the Mexican food places were at least an hour and a half
really?
wait.
Oh, you guys went to Red Robin.
Yeah.
I went to eat steak at the D.
That's a good one. Andiamo's?
Andiamo's. We went there with some of our buddies. Jonathan Tucker from
Okay.
Kingdom. He was in town, so we always meet up when he can be here. And we went and had a nice dinner. They took care of it. Owner and guys were great.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the good thing about Vegas. When people are here, you go meet up with them. And that was the spot. I had even that night. Once again, talking back to diet, I had a 32-ounce tomahawk steak.
Wow.
That night, and that was on a Friday. It was.
Woke up light the next day.
Yeah, and I woke up light the next day. The other day, we went to an amazing with my in-laws. We all went to an amazing spot, Esther's Kitchen. I highly recommend
That
in
place is
downtown
good.
Vegas. All homemade pasta, homemade sourdough bread. We all just pounded pasta.
Esther's
cheese.
Kitchen in downtown
Esther's Kitchen
Vegas?
in
Yep.
downtown Vegas, yeah.
So good.
So line me up here. Like, is it close to the D or close to?
It's close to
Golden
like
Nugget
Makers
or?
and Finders, kind of like Art District, over there.
I love pasta.
Dude,
It's
all
amazing.
homemade sourdough. We had meat and cheese board. Like, we had everything. And the next day, I think it was like our lightest days.
Yeah, I
Just
think
like,
that
oh.
was it.
Yeah, so
You guys put in some work.
we just put in work. Like, that's all there is to it,
So Matt, I was gonna basically call you Matt the whole time.
Okay.
But I did notice your Twitter was there, and I just figured, well, I met you through MTV, but then he immediately called you Danger. So you haven't, like, a lot of people like to detach themselves from, like, sometimes you'll talk to somebody and they don't even talk about the Ultimate Fighter anymore, like people that were on season 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it was
Danger's just that's you going forward?
I think within the martial arts community, I'm Danger. And
Danger things.
That's right. Any gym I'm at, I'm Danger. So Matt, Danger. I've had a nickname my entire life, so I respond to everything. But yeah, I don't want to disconnect myself from anything I've done. Cage was a part of my journey. The Ultimate Fighter was a part of my journey, and yeah, I've got no problem holding on to it. I am trying to change my Twitter handle and Instagram handle right now, but haven't figured out how to do it quite yet. Since we're verified, there's a little more to it, I suppose. But
you talk to the UFC,
do you already know what you're going to do?
Yep, I don't want to let it out there because I don't want somebody to go swipe it up before I do it.
Well, then all you have to do is be the real.
Yeah.
So-and-so.
Or
so-and-so for real.
Right.
That makes all the
if
difference.
they take it.
Official
for
so-and-so.
real.
For real,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that one of your pet peeves?
Yeah.
Oh, street cred. Oh, you get street cred along with it, too. Yeah, that's a good point.
My street fighting record has damaged my street cred, so I could use some.
All right, so let me jump around here.
Not Lance Palmer.
Yeah.
Not Lance
Palmer. Not official Lance Palmer.
What about the Pettis thing? Were you guys able to laugh it off, or the 5 training sessions, or do you guys pass each other? Anthony Pettis.
Oh, Anthony Pettis. Me and him are cool. We sat by each other at a fight even the other weekend. Really cool with him and his fiance. We hang out all the time. He came to my wedding. Me and Sergio, for whatever reason, never got close. So I trained with him and Bilal Muhammad and another guy there. But it wasn't anything we laughed off. We didn't know the fight was happening.
Right.
We all got done. We trained. And that was, like I said, one of the great things about the PI. We were just there and like, you guys going to work out? I'm like, I'll work out. Like, I'm excited to work out. Anthony Pettis is here. These guys just got a light training session. And then after, he's like, Sergio's going to be mad. I'm like, why? And he's just like, you guys going to fight one day for sure. I'm like, well, at least like you'll have some insight or something, if you fight him. And we kind of laughed it off, took a picture. And literally 5 days later, we took the fight. So yeah, it was nothing.
How's your knee been through this whole camp?
Knee's not even, it's not an issue, really. It's not a thing
You're
really
going
think
full
about.
100% by now. Otherwise, you wouldn't have signed, right?
Exactly, yeah. And I was going 100% before I signed, just, get back in it. And then just as a healthy fighter, you still need the 2 months to prepare. So it took about a month just to feel 100% on my knee training. And then then took the fight because I was training 100% within 9 to 10 months. And now the fight will be about 13 months surgery to fight.
Beat me in foot races last Friday, so I think
foot races
pretty good.
You guys like just running? You mean?
Well, we were doing sprints.
Yeah, running.
Joseph's got wheels.
He can move pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I'd say
move pretty good.
5'8", 30-yard dash for sure.
I got a solid 7
second 40,
7 second 30.
30.
Yeah.
Are you fast?
Marco Murray was at the PI. We're gonna challenge him, but.
Was he really? Oh, because he's a Vegas.
I wouldn't do the draft or anything, but I think I'm all right.
I thought this was my year to get drafted. I was holding on.
Lance is really fast.
Is he?
Yeah, explosive.
Did you play any football or anything?
When I was younger, I did, but once I was in high school, my wrestling coach wouldn't let me play any other sports.
All right, let's take this quick break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. We got to do our daily debate. I'm gonna throw a topic out to you guys. Would love for you guys to chime in. All right, we'll be right back after this 5 minute. We're gonna do our 5-minute commercial.
For those of you that think that gospel music has gone too far, you think we've gotten too radical with our message. Well, I got news for you. You ain't heard nothing yet. And if you don't know, now you know. Glory, glory!
They were kicked off the set of The Fast and the Furious for being too loud and too good looking. Once again, here's Gorgeous George and Goes.
Tune in to NBA Radio, Sirius 207 XM86, and listen to the hourly cue to call for your chance to win airfare, hotel accommodations, and 2 tickets to Game 4 of the NBA Finals. For official rules and details, go to SiriusXM.com/SiriusXM NBA Radio. Do that before May 22nd. And again, congrats to the Boston Celtics, who have now advanced. They will be playing the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. The West is set up with the Houston Rockets versus the Golden State Warriors, who are the defending champions. You're a Spurs guy, right? Not a Rockets guy?
I'm a Spurs guy.
All right. And then our panel today right now is Joseph Benavidez, who is just proclaimed himself the Spurs fan. We have Matt Schnell. Do you have a team?
Well,
New Orleans?
I live in Houston. I'm from Louisiana. I guess I'm rooting for the Rockets right now. I'd be lynched if
Lance Palmer looks like he don't give a fuck. It's either about football or wrestling or
Who do you think wore this off the plane after they won their title?
What's his name?
This will show a true NBA fan.
Ultimate Warrior. Okay.
LeBron.
Yeah.
He wore this off the plane with the trophy.
Okay. So you're a Cavs fan.
True fans know.
Weird.
You are a Cavs fan.
Oh yeah.
Oh cool.
I'm a Cleveland guy.
They've turned it on.
Had to. They got the best player in the league.
They weren't finishing too well towards the end, but man, they swept Toronto, which was amazing. They had a great series.
They have it on
against
Toronto
Indiana.
though. They always sweep them.
Yeah.
I think that was like the third or fourth.
I read
sweep
you
in a
wrong.
row.
For some reason, I saw you as a football guy, as a wrestling guy, and then after that, that's it.
When we lived together, we had when the Spurs swept the, or no, was it? It wasn't when they swept them. It was when the Spurs played the Cavs in the finals. A couple times when we lived together, they were in the finals together against each other.
Who won those?
Spurs, I think.
Spurs.
What's up with the Spurs?
Actually,
Joseph?
no.
Oh, it's the Heat.
That was when he was with it. When LeBron was with the Heat.
That was the Spurs and Heat.
Yeah.
That Ray Allen.
The
trash
three.
That happened.
The big three.
You guys have had a good run though.
There's a few. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Spurs,
they
yeah,
did
for
for
sure.
sure.
They've been.
And Cleveland had a great run too when the summer where Cleveland the Indians went to the end of the World Series.
They blew it.
Stipe won his title, and then the Cavs followed that up.
Yeah.
All right. So, time for the daily debate. All right, let's do this daily debate here. We have a question here that we present every day to our readers, our listeners, and we discuss it here on the show.
Yikes.
But since you came in strong with 2 dudes and you wiped out my whole crew, it's all about us 4, all right? You guys ready for this? Don't lay an egg
Goes
either.
is pissed.
Here we go. Today's question brought to you by me.
I miss you, guys.
And Joseph Benavidez, Matt Schnell, and Lance Palmer is, which weekend underdog has the best shot at pulling off an upset? King Mo versus Bader, Raquel Pennington versus Amanda Nunes, Kelvin Gastelum over Ronaldo Souza, also known as Jacare, or Amanda Cooper over Mackenzie Dern. We'll start off with you, Joseph.
I guess King Mo, I haven't seen fight in a while, so I don't know. And Bader looks to be turning it on pretty good. I'll go with Gastelum as far as upsets speak, because I don't even know if King Mo would really be an upset.
Well,
right?
yeah,
I mean,
Bader is the favorite. Bader, Nunes, Souza.
I just
Dern
don't
are
look
the
at it
favorites.
as like, oh my God, that'd be crazy if he won.
Gotcha.
Where Gastelum, on the other hand, I think kind of would be. And Gastelum's one of those guys, like, I feel like he's kind of like a known underdog, I always, even myself, and I think people, doubt him a lot, and he always goes in and performs above what people think. So I'll go with Gastelum.
How about you, Matt?
Yeah, I got to go with Gastelum as well. I think those other ones are there's too much distance in between them. Besides King Mo and Bader, I don't really know much about that one. But, yeah, I got to go with Gastelum as well. He's kind of always thrived in that underdog role, even going back to the Ultimate Fighter when he
last
came.
Pick.
Last pick, and he beats Uriah Hall, who was the guy that everybody thought. And I was at that one live, and I was more surprised than anybody that Gastelum came up on top there. So, yeah, I think Gastelum can get it done against Jacare.
How about you, Lance Palmer?
Yeah, I think the biggest fight that has the potential for the underdog is Gastelum, because he already showed. I mean, he came out when he knocked out Bisping, and he was the underdog in that fight also, I believe. So I would go with Gastelum because the Cooper and Dern fight, I mean, to me, that's not really – I mean, I'm sure people are interested, but that's not really a fight where I'd be like, oh, man, Cooper beat Dern. If it happened, it's not really a big deal to me. And then I like King Mo and I like Bader, but I don't really know if either of them two won, I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. So even if King Mo is the underdog, he could always come out and have a great fight and knock Bader out, or he could, go out and Bader can control the whole fight and win the fight. So I would say Gastelum just for an exciting fight. Gastelum and Jacare is going to be a good one.
Well, that's where most of the votes came in. 1,694 votes came in, and 63% went to Gastelum over Souza. 13% evenly to Mo over Bader and Pennington over Nunes, and then 11% Cooper over Dern. Mine goes to which weekend underdog has the best chance. I think it's King Mo over Bader.
How big of an underdog is King Mo?
Yeah.
He's about plus 200, and Bader's about minus 250.
So they're pretty close.
Pretty close.
That's why I was kind of surprised.
But Souza and Gastelum are closer.
Yeah.
But see, King Mo's like 13-1 as a heavyweight.
Yeah.
And this is a heavy. They're not fighting at 205. They're weighing in at heavyweight. He's done real well. His only loss, I think, is the Crow Cop, which he was doing well in over at Ryzen.
He's 13-1.
So he's 13-1 as a heavyweight.
At heavyweight.
Yeah.
At heavyweight.
Oh, at heavyweight.
As a heavyweight. Yeah. So I think he's got a shot. His speed kills. Bader's been fighting outstanding. But if there's going to be an upset, I think that chance over Bader. If Gastelum and Souza was maybe not in Brazil, then something happens, man. The Brazilian fighters rise to the occasion in Brazil. I think that's a tough task, and Souza's a beast on the ground. So I'll go with King Mo over Bader. And there you go. That's today's Daily Debate, brought to you by the MMA Junkie Radio crew, which is represented by Gorgeous George here. And then we have Lance Palmer, Matt Schnell, and Joseph Benavidez. All right. So, guys, I wanted to ask you something else. Do you ever watch The Ultimate Fighter anymore or at all? Something that we've been asking our listeners. Last night was season 27, episode 4. We cover it because it's our job. It's been a cool season. They've had undefeated fighters, and we've been catching up with the winner each week. But I'm curious, do you watch it, Joseph?
I haven't caught up on this season.
Okay.
So I haven't watched any. I don't know if I plan to. I know someone on it, so maybe I'll catch some fights, but I haven't.
Okay.
I'm into dramatic TV lately, it is dramatic, but we have so many other shows we got going.
Give me a favorite of yours.
Atlanta, which is the season finale tonight.
The Housewives?
Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Donald Glover's Atlanta on FX. That's the season finale night. We watch Barry.
Showtime
we
or
have
something
some
like that?
Barry's on HBO.
Just watch Wild Wild Country.
Wild Wild Country on Netflix.
What the fuck is that?
It's like a
It's a process to
crazy
explain.
cult documentary.
Really?
Oh, it's a crazy story. I don't know how I never knew about it. So no, I haven't been watching The Ultimate Fighter. Haven't caught up. Obviously, our season, I was stuck to seeing how it played out. Other than that, no, I haven't. Watch every fight every weekend, but don't really catch up to the shows too often.
How about you, Matt?
Been really into cults lately. We're actually looking to start our own cult. So now
Nautical Gang.
For a second there, I thought you said colt, as in horse.
No, cult.
Okay, colt.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, because we had Waco too.
Yeah,
Koresh. You were into that.
David Koresh.
Oh yeah,
that's my buddy. The Lamb of God. Anywho, yeah, The Ultimate Fighter. I think I kind of stopped watching after my season. I let myself down a little bit, and if I'm being honest, there's kind of a empty spot there for me. So it kind of brings up bad memories. So I know a lot of guys on this season, and I'm rooting for them and hope they do well, and I check out their fights. But as far as The Ultimate Fighter goes, it's I haven't really kept up with it as much.
Lance, you ever seen it? Or I know you have been on it, but do you still see it? Is what I meant to say.
So this season, Tyler Diamond, one of my good friends from Sacramento, he's on it, but I haven't seen. I don't think he's even fought yet on the show. So I watch when people are on there that I know. Other than that, I haven't really watched it. And like Joe said, we've been watching. We haven't even been able to catch up on our own shows that we actually enjoy. So the tough shows kind of at the bottom of that list also. And
what about news? How in tune are you with the latest news
for MMA or
for MMA? Yeah,
for MMA,
I stay up to date.
Yeah.
He stays up to date on a lot of sports and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he loves sports.
Well, thank you very much for checking out the MMA Junkie app. I'm sure that's the one
all
you're
the
on.
time, yeah.
How about you,
Definitely.
Joseph and Lance? Are you guys into it? Like, if I go,
On
GSP
Twitter.
might fight Nate, would you just be like, oh, that's cool. Hey, what time's Waco on? Or would you, like, get into, like, why they should or shouldn't? Does it make sense? Does it not?
I think sometimes I'm surprised. Well, you know, with my wife, I get a lot, you know. Like, I know what's happening and where she's going and what she's doing and what she's studying for. She'll ask me, you know, some questions about different fighters and, you know, talk about it. So I kind of have that. Other than that, I mean, I obviously follow sites on Twitter and Instagram, so that's kind of how I get my news. So I think pretty average. You know.
What do you
as
think of
far as-
GSP versus Nate? Since I just
Is
threw
that
it out
happening?
there? No,
Yeah,
but
that's
Dana
like
White
live.
says he's working on it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, but what are the odds of that fight actually taking place at 155 pounds? I mean, I think we just saw how big GSP was at 85. This guy
And
can
it
make,
fucked up his system.
Yeah, this guy can make 55.
Now he wants to go down to.
I think these are caviar wishes, champagne dreams. I don't know what this guy's thinking. You know, he can't make 55.
But I guess we're all into it if the fight happens, right? It's like who's gonna walk out of the room at that
I mean,
point?
people will watch it. I don't know if it's like the most ideal fight.
Nah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Nate, I mean, he fought Nick, and I don't know. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. What do you guys think of this money weight era? Money fight era, sorry.
Well,
it just takes away from the rankings.
Yeah.
There's no real point of having a ranking system, honestly. If you're just gonna have, I mean, I get politics and it's in all sports, but every other sport you have a ranking system or a tournament system of, you know, like how we were talking about NBA, where they made it to the conference finals now, and you have to beat this team to move on. And there's always, every other sport has that. And you don't really have any other sports that I can think of, at least, where you're just like, hey, can I get a title shot over here? I've won my last 3 fights, ranked 7th or 6th. These other guys already fought the guy who's got the belt. I'll do it, you know? Or like every time somebody wins a fight, they're like, I want a shot at the belt. It's like, this isn't WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Just win your fights. I get the entertainment aspect where you got to talk some shit and be entertaining and try and draw attention to yourself. But when it comes down to it, you have to fight to get there.
Are you in it more for the belt or the money?
To provide for my family.
Okay, how about you, Matt?
The belt's always going to be there. If you win the belt, the money comes.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. You know, if you win the title, you're gonna.
The money will come.
The money will come. I think the UFC shouldn't stick with this money fight thing because it kind of defeats the purpose of the rankings. But Bellator, like, make the money fights. You know, I don't care. I'd love to see. I like to see these geriatric fights where these old guys get back in there. As long as they're fighting another old guy, why not? Let them do it. You know. But these guys shouldn't be facing off against young guys that are just going to mow through them. So I think Bellator should stick to their niche. The UFC should stick to their niche.
And I think with Bellator too, those fights, they're not bringing those people together to fight for a title.
Right.
It's more for entertainment.
Yeah, to sell.
And I'm fine with that, but it's all these title fights that are just people just choosing who they want to fight when they're defending the belt, and guys just trying to request that they get a title shot and stuff like that. Like, you gotta make your voice heard and things like that, but you should speak in the cage, and your performances should speak, and get yourself to that top 3 ranking. Top 3, anybody in the top 3 could win the belt. So I feel once you're there, yeah, you can vouch for a title shot. But if you're, you know, just because you're top 10 doesn't mean you should be like, hey, I'm over here, let me get that title shot. I think it's just a way, you know, once they get to win the title, then they're picking and choosing who they want to fight. I've never had a fight where I was like, you know, since I have the belt, I don't want to fight that guy. I've taken on all comers, whether I have the belt, don't have the belt. You fight who they give you and work your way up. That's when you really can prove that you're the best.
Money or belt?
Just growth in general. You know, I think everything kind of goes with it. You know, you need money to grow in some aspects, and, you know, the competition, the success to grow also. Just growth in general. As far as the money fights, obviously it's entertainment, so you're going per pay-per-view, you know, sales and stuff. So you obviously want to make the most money for each event. So I understand that from an entertainment aspect, and sometimes it's nice. It's like, all right, these are the fights that people want the most. You know, the best people will eventually get there. But yeah, it is a little tough. Just I think the entitlement part of it, where everyone thinks they deserve a money fight without selling pay-per-views or without doing stuff. That's what's really annoying. Like, people want to see the fight. It's going to be a fight. People are going to be competitive. You know, it'll be put on for a reason, you know, to sell the pay-per-view. But other than that, it's just the entitlement where everyone's like, money fight, money fight. It's like, what'd you do to earn that besides ask for it? You know, it's not really yeah, the most important fight should happen for the pay-per-view and the belt. I think everyone's going to know who's best, but it's really annoying when people ask for a money fight that have never sold pay-per-views or whatever. It's just like, just make the money, you know, that they give you, you know, and or do your growth to selling pay-per-views, and they'll promote you for that so-called money. I don't know what it is. It's like a ghost. It's just a word I think people say, like, money fight. I need the money fight. And it's like, what does that even mean? How many money fights has there been?
They want to hitch their wagon to someone that does sell pay-per-views.
I don't even get it. Like, how many money fights has there really been? Or, like, what even is the definition of one?
Right.
Like, you're getting
We should make people actually have to ask the money fighter,
but
will you fight me? At least put them through that embarrassment.
But you're
like,
getting money every fight.
Mr. St. Pierre, could I tangle it up with you so I could make some more money?
That's what I mean. Like, you're getting money every single fight.
Yeah.
So it's just, what's the definition? A certain amount? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird for sure. And I think obviously, like, the question you just asked, the line's been skewed of just like, what even matters, like the actual belt or the actual money, and what do people actually even want? But you know, at the end of the day, it is a sport that's different from others as far as entertaining, and, you know, one show at a time and everything. So I understand they got to do what they got from a business perspective. But
let's talk to this caller here, Hal from Chicago. He says he's got a question for each of you. What's up, Hal from Chicago? How you doing?
Excellent, man. Fine panel we got here. We got Matt Schnell. Remember you from Caged, and also obviously watching your fights, man. Old school, and that was a great show. And then Lance. It's put it this way, all right? Somebody's offering you $500,000. And I don't know what you make. Maybe you make more, but I'm assuming that's high for any MMA fighter. Somebody gives you $500,000. They want you to fight like, I don't know, Shinya Aoki or something. I know he's a little heavier, but you go up to fight Shinya Aoki in Japan for $500,000 in front of 90,000 people at the Tokyo Dome. Or you get a title shot for, like, you know, I don't know, whatever it is that you normally make. Which one would you take at this point?
Well, I would take the one for more money, but that's not necessarily the money fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to take what's going to provide more for my family, but the money fight is the people who are just calling that aren't getting offered that. If I'm getting offered that, it's different. But the requesting a money fight when you're not really being offered that is what we're trying to talk about, I guess.
Okay. And JB, a.k.a. FB, how you doing, man?
Hello. How are you?
As Gigi was talking about the NBA Finals, did you find yourself getting a face boner?
No, because the Spurs weren't in it. So I can't say I did. I guess it'd be the opposite, really.
Yeah.
So whatever you need.
Oh, wow.
I'll leave that. You can make up a new term for that. But it was the opposite, because, you know, the Spurs weren't in it, so I had no interest in it.
Face dysfunction.
So it'd be the opposite.
Flaccid
face. Flaccid
face. So you got
facial dysfunction.
A face limpy.
Facial dysfunction, something like that. I like it.
Yeah, I remember when you last came on. For those that are wondering what the hell I'm talking about, last time you were on the show, you talked about when you went on the court and met them and everything. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was pretty.
I felt. But anyway, I was just wondering, for a quick general question for you guys. You know, do you find that it's you know, the people that say, okay, now USADA has come in and people are getting you know, cleaner, and everybody's getting, you know, people that are going to still bend the rules are going to get pinched. Do you find, without naming their names obviously, but do you find that people are seeking other things? Because we know that with every era, whatever the cops do, you know, the cheaters are going to be one step ahead of the action. And, you know, without getting into specifics, do you see people dabbling in other things that are not yet have been tested for or out in the public? And take care. Good luck in your next fight, guys.
Thanks, Hal, for the question.
Yeah, listen, I think that, you know, the eye test or the smell test, as they call it, is the best test to go off of. And a lot of these guys, I feel, are somehow still getting around it. And yeah, I won't name any names, but I think everybody can draw that picture to who they think is probably still cheating the system in some way. And who knows? Maybe they just have great physiques year round. They can eat chocolate cake every night. But it's hard to say.
But it is tough to do, being that it's random testing.
It is random testing.
I believe the UFC at least. I have to applaud them for that because I watch NFL and NBA, and it's in their collective bargaining. But a lot of times, how many and when,
right?
And when you've cleared certain hurdles, you're good to go.
Yeah.
In the UFC, you can't, man. It's like, okay, someone knocks on your door, and you're thinking like, well, we won't have to mess with that, and then tomorrow you could get it again.
I think over the years, because they're taking the samples and they're keeping them and they're going to retest them. You'll see some guys fall after years down the line. And
do you guys think that people are still trying to find the synthetic drug or things that can beat in our sport?
Absolutely.
Well, I just read an article that USADA is actually going after SARMs now, which is something that they weren't looking for before. And SARMs are something that kind of mimic steroids and different types of performance enhancers. So it's one of those things that USADA keeps evolving, and I think it's good for the sport. So I think it all just depends. There's always going to be the people who go above and beyond to try and get around it, and for them, it's got to be super stressful for them because they're always just looking for the next thing that isn't going to get them caught at the time. But I feel like if you're that worried about that, instead of just training and improving as a fighter and strength and conditioning to your best ability and really putting your best foot forward in all aspects of the game, then you're not focusing on any of that stuff. You're just trying to focus on not getting caught.
All right, we got to take our last break. We'll get your opinion when we come back. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. I'd like you to follow that gentleman over there. He's from USADA. He's requesting a sample.
Perfect.
All right, we'll be right back, folks.
No blood today?
Is that a stool sample?
Our guests for today, Bryce Mitchell, Joseph Benavidez, Matt Schnell, and Lance Palmer. Tomorrow, our co-host for the day will be Leandro Lorenco, who is the head coach at the Juan Fight Team. Also, Vanderlei Silva. We'll catch up with him, see what he's all about. He's out in Brazil, as is our Fernanda Prates from MMA Junkie. She'll be covering UFC 224 for us while she lives out there. So she's our gal on the spot, on the scene. We'll talk to her about all the big news and all the things that are popping up here on Fight Week out there in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Joseph, real quick, did you want to chime in? The testing, is it something you think about? You worry that there's still cheaters out there that are working the way around?
I don't worry about like other people, just really myself or that. But as far as an opinion, I mean, I think there's guys out there that haven't been caught and are still trying to get around it and maybe haven't been caught, or they still are getting caught. I mean, obviously, so
right.
You know, there's still people trying out there and thinking they'll get away with it and either getting caught. So there's some out there that haven't also. That's really my only opinion.
I want to wish you all the best of luck with the rest of your camps. Hopefully you guys get through it safe and you guys go out there and kick some ass.
You know it.
Thank you for stopping by. He's going to put the music on soon, so let's just do this real fast.
Okay.
One-word answers. Pennington or Nunes? Lance?
Nunes.
Matt?
Nunes.
All right, that was easy. Gastelum Souza?
Gastelum.
I'll pick Gastelum too.
Souza.
All right. Cooper and Dern?
Dern.
All right. Kelleher and Lineker?
Lineker.
This is one of my favorite fights on the card, and I'm picking Kelleher.
All right, and last one, Belfort or Machida?
Machida.
Belfort.
Okay. All right, there you have it, folks. Some predictions from some professional fighters. And we will be back again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern with another edition of MMA Junkie Radio. For Danny back east, who produced the show, Goes and Dan to my left, Katie and Brandon out from Boston and Louisville, respectively. And our panel here, Lance Palmer, Matt Schnell, and Joseph Benavidez. I am George. I hope you all had a great time. We'll see you all tomorrow. Until then, go out there and be a champion.
Viva Las Vegas with your neon flash.